took a quick break. Restarted the server. Let's see if this little guy's working. Hey, it's working. Look at that. Okay, so now the question is, if I go over to Merciful and Mighty here, does it maintain the state? Nope, does not. Well, okay. Maybe it just didn't quite finish loading. Merciful and Mighty. Nope, reset the state. Okay, so it's doing a full page refresh then. Yep. Okay, so this is not being persisted. Maybe I have to tell it to persist though? I don't know. So let's see if there's a quick cheat sheet on view transitions. There's this crash course thing. Now there's already a 3.2 that came out, making it easier. How do I upgrade? No idea. You can configure individual link to prevent a new history entry from being added to the browser stack on navigation. Okay. JavaScript API, navigation API, router announcer, dynamically add integrations. Okay, maybe we'll upgrade in a bit because I think I'm.
In a world of way too many JavaScript frameworks, I think Astro is one of the ones that you should definitely be looking at. Astro started with a focus on content, but now you can use it to build almost anything, and it directly competes with frameworks like Next.js. And Astro just recently launched version 3.0, so I'm going to walk you through a crash course to know everything you need to know about Astro 3.0 going forward so that you can build amazing applications with one of the most going to be statically generated. So if we run a build of this, and we can actually do this, so if we run a build of component, we have a table of contents up here, and we also have, if we go to our blog page, we also have pagination built in for this as well. So if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see we have next. So if we look inside of the Astro config file, it's saying we're going to use the Tailwind integration. If we look inside of the Tailwind config file, here's a config that we will update. So in this case, what we have is our header. We then have the image component, which we'll come back to in a second. And then we have a couple of links at the end of this for home, about, and blog. So let's save that. And then we should have one additional component that we're missing, which is our max width. And then we're centering this to go. But it's literally as simple as importing this component and then using that to display either inside of individual pages or a root layout, which is what I do here. So let's go into our layout component. And I'm going to see if I can get auto import in this. Yeah, so view transitions. I'm just going to add this component right inside of the head. And we can see this auto import came from Astro transitions. We'll save this, and now look at what we get. From here, when we transition to from home to about, you'll see that we get this like kind of fade-in effect. That's really, really neat. Astro is now taking care of this for us by kind of rendering this and staying on the browser to be able to switch between different pages. This is built on top of core browser.
So that's all of a sudden you need to do. Just add the view transitions and it should be all set. Got the view transitions component in there. Put it in head. And doesn't seem to work. So let's close out of this for a sec. What is not working about it? Like they had kind of that fade animation going between the two pages. There's no animation whatsoever happening. View transitions doesn't seem to be working correctly. Go back to that video. So all I did.
And this, yeah, so view transitions, I'm just going to add this component right inside of the head. And we can see this auto import came from Astro transitions. We'll save this, and now look at what we get. From here, when we transition to from home to about, you'll see that we get this like kind of fade-in effect. That's really, really neat. Astro is now taking care of this for us by kind of rendering this and staying on the browser to be able to switch between different pages. This is built on top of core browser APIs. Astro just wraps this in a really neat way so that we can add view transitions to our applications and make them look really, really pretty with basically no work. All right, with all of that in place, let's start to work on this blog page. So to start, we can create a new page, and we can just kind of copy and paste one of these if we want, and just call this blog. And we'll say this is the blog.
Okay, so let's add to this nav a tag with an href of home. I'm going to remove that View transitions. Or was it on index here? I'm gonna remove this transition name thing for now. And I'm gonna remove it on here too. Hey, there we are. Look at that. Finally. Okay. So, it's now doing the fade thing. Now what I want to do is I want that to kind of animate to where it is over there. So, let's actually continue watching the video because I think it's going to be in there.
Page, and then
Actually,
update this.
The other thing I wanted to check is to see if that counter is being refreshed on every time. Let's see. Do that. Go to Merciful and Mighty. It is being reset, but that might be because we have to do something about that. So let's continue watching and see if it gets into that.
To just keep Rhythm Nation blog, and we can actually get rid of the p tags. We'll add content to this in a second. So now we should have blog, about, home, about, blog. So we have our blog page, and now we actually want to start working with blog content. Well, one of the interesting things that we haven't done yet is we can actually use Markdown directly inside of our pages directory. So if I say something like blog1.md and I say h1, this is a blog, what's really interesting, this is not the most practical thing, but this actually does work as a page. So if I go to blog, this on my bar, I think set up and tell
okay, so it's doing functions
post
now.
That to MDX in a minute. That's an actually using post collect. It's key created. Have a post, haven't post created yet. Actually, we take sure you have type reference.data. We're actually we can scroll through them, and then each one is going to link to a page that does each component. And the height, and then most importantly, we can specify the format. And with Astro 3.0, it's not able to do those transformations. And then the current directory that we're in, which is in, go and change, and then process our images and you can, by using bracket syntax and slug. So what slug is, await the Astro content, so import collection entry, and now we without component. So this will be rounded as on this page. So we have the title, then we have the image, and now we need to actually display that content. Now Astro here, npm install content. That are all created statically, so they're going to be super fast, and they have the content, which is this box. We can work with Markdown, or not. We can actually import for each one of our blog posts that actually get hosted as a static page when you run a build. Let's actually just see that really quickly. So let's individual index separate video of side of your Astro application, which is really phenomenal, super, super cool. Now, another thing that we didn't even get into is SSR. And this is exactly what we're using SSR. So if you want to learn how to do pagination on your blog post or whatever, so get ready for this, and it'll be ready for Astro 3.0 as well. Okay. So I hope you can tell I'm super excited about Astro and Astro 3.0. I hope you enjoyed the crash course. If you have any feedback or things you'd like to see,
I want to try getting two things working. I want to get it so that the state of that component remains fixed. As we navigate from page to page. So let's go back to view transitions. So SPA mode, we did that already. Transition directives. Astro will automatically assign corresponding elements found in both the old page and the new page. A shared unique view transition name. This pair of matching elements is inferred by both the type of element and its location in the DOM. Use optional transition directives and page elements in your Astro components for finer control of the page transition behavior during navigation. Built-in animation directives. So we want, I think what we want here is transition animate. Perhaps no. I don't know. Let's stick it on there and see what happens. Seems like whenever I add anything, entire animation for the entire page. So go back to this and have the fade working again. Okay, so let's see. Let's search for Astro persist component. See what that does. Using the transition persist directive. Persist. Okay, there we are. Transition persist allows you to write Astro's default replacing all elements for new ones and persist commits HTML elements. Is there an example further on? Yes. Transition persist. So let's do that on here, on the counter. Okay. So hopefully, if we've done this right, should be able to increment the count here, navigate, increment more, navigate back, and everything stays the same. Now we've lost our animation again. So perhaps because we need to I don't know what we need to do. Transition animate. Let's put transition animate on main here. See if that'll get it to animate. Nope. So, what's going on? Flip. Astro view transitions flip. This guy's got a lot of good Astro content, so maybe he's got something.
View transitions are magic, and in literally under 2 minutes, we're going to get our site from looking like this to looking like this using Astro View Transitions.
Yeah, let's close our
Hey, what's up? My name is Chris, and welcome to Coding in Public. Right, here's the site we're going to be working with, and this is the Astro blog site that I built out on my channel a little bit ago. And if you want to follow along with the code, you can come to the link in the description. Just download the zip and then open it up in your favorite code editor. Here we've got it in VS Code.
YouTube
You just do npm install, that will install all the dependencies, and once that's done, you can do npm run dev. That's assuming you have Node on your machine. So that should get you up and running, and you should be looking just like this. I did mention that this is something I built out on my channel, and I've since updated it a little bit, but you can find that code right here if you want to follow along with that tutorial. I've also updated it to use content collections, and then I did a video recently on Astro assets, which I'm also using in this project. Now, generally speaking, we only need 3 steps to make this magic work, which is unbelievable, but you can follow along if you come into this view transitions experimental future of the stable. What I'm going to do, you might have like a common head component, and I happen to have that, so a main head right here, and all I'm going to do is then take this and say import view transitions, and that will just auto-complete that automatically. Then I just have to add this component somewhere in my head, and like that, we've done step 2. So by default, now that we've done that, everything will just start to crossfade. So if I click in here, you can see how it just crossfades back and forth. If I go to a different page, it crossfades over there. So the entire site is crossfade, and all I've done is do those 2 things. Now, what it's doing behind the scenes is it's saying, here's your old page you were just on. You clicked on this new page. I'm not sure how to link these things up, so I'm just going to crossfade between everything because there may or may not be shared components. It doesn't know that. So what we're going to do next is actually kind of what I'm representing with these colors, which is give it distinct names for each of these sections, so it knows exactly which things to move throughout the DOM, which is really quick and easy to do. So all I'm going to do is come back over here. You can see that you can give these things names. View transition name. Now behind the scenes, all this does is add a view transitions name CSS property to individual elements in your DOM.
Okay. So let's try that again. We'll do transition name merciful and mighty, and then we'll add that to the image on here,
So I'm going to come over here, and let's just go and do that with the index page. So if I come over here, let's look at these blog posts. Those happen to be in something called postcard. And what I'm going to do is come down here to this image and just make it a little bit easier. Easier on you, you can just add a transition name and just give it a name. And again, all they're doing behind the scenes is essentially setting the style to this view transition name, whatever you happen to name the thing. Now, one thing to note is you have to provide a common string, like a straight string, so you can't have spaces like this. And you could have it like a bob case like this, so we could use a slug, for instance. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this and just make it dynamic. So we'll say something like image, and then I get a URL being passed into this card component right here, which will be slugified by default since it's a URL. So I'm just going to use that as my transition name. So I've added it from here. Now I need to go to the next page, the new page, and give the new page a name. So let's say this is my image. I just added the name here. I need to now add this to my new page. Now all of those blog pages use something called a post header. Again, this is just the way I happen to have built out the site. So I can come here and do the exact same thing. Transition name equals image URL. Because I'm getting the URL in right here, that same thing should work. So now with those two little changes, I can come back over here and look at this magic. I just click and it moves immediately into space, back and forth between the two. Isn't that incredible? So now nothing else is moving. So for instance, if I come here, I want like the title to also probably move along with that, and it's not doing that. So we can do the exact same thing with the title really easily. So let's come up top here. I got the title, and I can just do view transitions.
So it says it's working, or in that video, that's all they did. Or refresh the page again here. Increment count. Not liking it. Let's take a look at the image, see what's on it. You know, it might be in a different scope. Data Astro transition scope YZDST. And then let's say we go back to here, check out this guy. It's got a different scope on it. See if the video contains any information about that. This name, instead of calling this image URL, I'll just call this title URL. And then let's grab the same exact thing, and let's come back to the postcard, and let's find our title. That happens to be in this tag component, and just like this, now if I come here and I click, not only is the image going to fade, but also this title is going to fade up into the spot as well. So pretty amazing. And I can continue this. So obviously, I can come into the small tag and say something like meta URL, and this will fade all this stuff. And again, I just need to grab this, come back over here, find that same small tag, or anything I want it to fade between. In this case, it happens to be a paragraph tag, but I'm just telling it, hey, it's the same exact thing. If I move back here, now they all kind of fade up and down, just like that. Isn't that crazy? And one more time, just to kind of belabor the point, let's add this as a category, or the category, and I come back to the postcard, and let's find our category up top here, right here, and I'll just add it to this whole thing right here. Now as I switch between these, the category switches, the image switches, the title, and this about little meta section all kind of fade and move into view. So that's as easy as it is. You don't have to do almost anything else besides that. Now, this is basically working in Chrome browsers by default. Everybody else will just get the standard like page refresh. They have tried to implement some fallbacks for those browsers. So if I come back over here, here's Safari right here, and if I click here, it should kind of have some fallback. I'm not getting that experience, so I might be doing something wrong, but that's why this is just a first look. And as they get this closer to stable release, I'm sure if there are any bugs or if I'm missing something, then we will fix that between the two of us. So all we've done is basically give it individual names and say, hey, this should fade to this should move to this should move to this. And they don't even have to be the same component. You could have it move and actually be something completely different, but that's kind of the point, is that it is the same component. So just to show you, that's what we're doing here. Now there are other details here, like maintaining state across those different items. You can also give, like, for instance, like this persistence between things. So maybe I should just show you this real briefly. So let's grab this right here, and this transition persist will basically even allow you to have like a video that plays on a different page that stays in the exact same spot as when you started it. So let's come over here, the post header, and I'm just going to add it to the top of both of these items right here. So if I come back over here, I now got videos playing. So now the only other thing I need to do is give this some kind of unique name. So let's call this something like video URL, and it needs to be unique on each page. So the reason I'm doing it like this is because the homepage has obviously tons of different videos since they're all kind of the same. So let's come back over here and add the same thing here, video URL, make sure that is saved as well. And now if I come here, notice where these people are. They're right at kind of that corner. If I click inside here, they're still at that corner. So the video actually stays consistent with where it's at. If I move back, once again, that's where they're at here. If I come down here though, it's just started the video for this one. So it's keeping track of all these video tapes separately with this transition persist. Now, once they release 3.0, I'll do an updated video where I actually talk through how this is working using the View Transitions API. This is just coming to all browsers, which is really cool. You don't have to do it on page refresh. You can actually do it on individual sections. Okay. All right. So what's going on? It's not animating it. My guess it's because they're in two different scopes. One is in this index.astro here, The other is this home page one. They're both images. Both the same image. Let's search for scope. See what there's on that. There isn't anything on that. So all I did was name the transition between the two of them. Transition name Merciful and Mighty. Transition name Merciful and Mighty. If I remove it from here and remove it from here, inspect. Let's take a look at what's going on with it. Okay, so that scope thing is gone now. Let's take it back on again. What if we were to put the transition name on, actually let me check again. Put the slide on it, transition animate. Let's see what it thinks about that. Not sure why that's not working. back to removing the counter for now. It's interesting that pretty much any like customization to the transition stuff just seems to break the transition. So like if there's nothing, if I remove all the transition directives here, go back, it's happy again, it's doing the fading. Strange, very strange. Why does it not like that? So I guess what I want to search for then would be retransition name breaks Okay, so he's got in this one not much there. Blog, slug, Okay, so this person's got this example of a sliding animation. Okay, so they're getting it to work there. Here in the video, oh, you know what? Does this just have to be in curlies? That was it the whole time. Not sure whether to be happy or sad. They're also using a backtick. We'll try it with just a string for now. Hopefully that works. Nope. Didn't like that. Let's do a backtick around those. They're doing a backtick so that they can interpolate. But I don't need to interpolate anything, I don't think. Nope, that didn't do it. Okay. Are they identical still? Transition name. Merciful and mighty. What else might I be missing? Transition colon name equals brackets index layout. Let's go back to this guy. Nothing. Now, both of these examples are using some sort of dynamic ID to uniquely identify these things. Let's just say we do ABC 1, 2, 3, 4. Do the same thing here. Nope. Doesn't like it still. As soon as you put the transition name on there, it doesn't like it anymore. Can it not be on an image? Should be fine on an image. They have it on an image here, I think. Or is it video even? They put it on the image tag. Transition colon name. Does it matter where that? No, I don't think so. Let's say we do something real simple here. Let's make an about page that has essentially the same content as this. So copy that, but we'll go to, actually no, we'll make it more or less the same content as the index page. And we'll say new file about Astro. Okay. So do merciful and mighty. Oh, you know what I also realized? I'm missing that semicolon right there. I don't know if that does anything. got this about page, what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip it down a little bit, but leave it mostly the same. And let's make the link to about go to that about page. So we'll do href equals about. And there has to be a slash there. Okay. So here's my idea. I want to get these two pages, this home page and the about page, to look very similar. And then I want them to animate between the two of them. Right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to back to this about page. Did I fix the semicolon? I did, okay. And we're going to put on here, transition name equals A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to copy that and we're going to paste it onto about. Okay, so now those two pages are very similar to each other. Now what I'm expecting is for that to kind of slide over, but it's not doing that. It's not even doing the crossfade either. And I'm not getting any errors in the console, so nothing's telling me that it's not working. You know, I'm gonna just, out of curiosity, stop the server and then try running it in Node. So what might I have to change around here? There's a bun lock, but that's about it. So I think I can just run npm run dev. Okay. So now I'm running with Node. It's still local 4321. That's fine. Let this refresh. Go to cancel music. Nope. Doesn't seem to matter. Okay. What if I took this little guy and made it into a black div? We're going to do div dot pg black. is failing on me here. Div. Really failing on me. Div class equals BG black. Div. Okay. And we'll just say width 10, h 10. Okay. I'm gonna take that guy and replace this merciful and mighty with that. Now we're going to put the view transition back on it. VR transition name equals ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, and copy that over to about. Doesn't care. Doesn't care if it's an image or not. Or just div. Let's make the about one red. Red 600. It's bizarre. I don't know. Don't know what's going on. Don't know what's going on. Transition colon name. Alright, well, I think I may call it a night. At least for the stream. Could perhaps bash my head on this a little longer. It's cool we were able to get that persist state thing working though. But yeah, gotta figure out this animation thing. Alright, well, see y'all later.